So, in our last video, to start, we're gonna start building up the bushes that cover up the front and the sides of our house. So I'm just gonna define the outline of this bush, and then looking at my photo reference, there's gonna be a lot of just basically black in this area. Though I'm gonna leave a little space in there where you can see white, but for the most part, this part of the porch is just gonna be dark. And I'm just going to go through, I'm going to define little areas before I put in the bushes. There's just like a little barrel on the front, so I'm just going to go just define that shape. I'm just going to hatch in that. So while I have the ruler out, I'm actually going to get my thinner pen, and I'm just going to do the siding on the front of our house. I'm just going to line it up with the top of the window to start. And I'm just going to start just adding these lines, and I'm just roughly trying to get them the same width. You can use any straight edge. Make sure you start and work down from a point. If you draw a line and try to work up, you can't see it. Even with this clear ruler, it's hard to see. So I just do my line, and then I just start making the lines below it, and I'm just making them parallel to the line above each one. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to add the shadows on my posts just with hatching. I'm going different directions for each side of the post just to give it a different look on the angle. So I'm just going to do the outline of the cast shadow on the roof. And then I'm going to make sure to hatch this a different direction than the siding. So if you do horizontal hatching, it just won't darken up as much, and doing the hatching opposite of the siding just darkens it up a little more. So I'm going to just hatch the roof over the porch. So I'm going to cross hatch the front of it, since it's going to be darker than the side of this little roof. And then the side of the roof, I'll just do a little bit of hatching just to give it some texture, since it's not smooth, it's kind of rough. So on the ground, I'm just going to start doing what's called tick hatching, and that's just where you put the pen down and kind of flick it up, and it gives you kind of the look of blades of grass. So there's kind of long grass around the side of the house. I'm going to actually get this house shadow into the grass before I do kind of the longer grass, and then the other part of the roof down here. But for the most part, I'm just using this little tick hatch, just tiny little lines, and I'm just kind of flicking the end of the pen off the paper so it gives me a wider base and a thin top, so it looks like the blades of grass. Now I'm just going to go in, I'm going to hatch the little dark areas in here before I go in and I start kind of putting in the bushes. So I'm just kind of using my scribbles and just creating the form of this bush where it's going to cover things and the shape of it. And then moving on to the next bush, just kind of, it's going to overlap the roof just a tiny bit over the porch, and it's going to overlap these posts. So I'm just doing the shadows in here, and I'll go back with my thinner pen, do those details, but for now I'm just kind of getting the shape of this bush. And I'll go through and I'll put little details in the grass as I'm going along, switching between scribbling and tick hatching. And then moving on to the side of the house with the two larger bushes that are covering a good deal of these windows. And again, I'm just going through, kind of adding the grass here and there, adding shadows and any dark areas under the porch. I'm just kind of going back and forth over the areas I've already gone over with the finer pen, adding just the tinier little details. I'm going through and I have to add this shadow that's coming in over the porch. And this is giving us both texture and depth. I'm just going to go through and just do tiny little tick hatching and even just larger cross hatching to build up the value in the grass. I don't want you to worry about all the detail in the grass around the house. I want you to focus more on the details on the house. So we're coming up to the end of the video. I'm not having you do the siding on the house if you don't want to. When the video's over, I'm actually going to have a picture on here and I'll talk about the things I added after our video ended. But I want you to just focus on the details of the bushes and the shadows. If you'd like to go when we're done with this and do any of that side detail, you are more than welcome to. So here is the somewhat finished product of my house. I've gone and I've added a little more detail to the grass and the bushes on the sides in front of the house. The main thing that you can see is I did the siding on the right side of the house and added kind of the spots where the paint has worn off. I added the chimney texture so you can see the bricks, and I just did some rough lines for the shingles on the top of the roof. So I'm not asking you to do any of this. You are more than welcome to. If you have time and you want to add these little details, you can do that. But if you didn't, that's fine. Take a picture of it and turn it in.